Hi everyone, my name is Maya Gio, and a little bit about me. I am a senior at the University of New Mexico School of Architecture and Planning, and for this instructional video today I wanted to choose a topic that is not only a passion of mine, but also something that I thought could be beneficial to college students, young business professionals alike. So for this video, I will be walking us through the art of color psychology, in terms of using it to design or redesign any piece of technical or professional documentation that you'd like. For the sake of this video, we are going to be focusing on flyers in particular, but this can be applied to any piece of documentation that you have. And we are not getting into graphic design as a whole because that is a much longer conversation for another day. But I do hope to show you from the unique perspective of a designer how just this one simple step can completely transform your documentation. Between architecture and landscape design, I spend all day, every day, learning about the ways that color can convey different information to different audiences, and I hope to teach that skill to you. So I hope you enjoy, and let's get started. To accomplish what I'm going to show you, you will need a flyer or brochure that you wish to bring to life, a design software of your choice, and an audience in mind. Here we have an example of a flyer, and this is the flyer we'll be using in our redesign. But you can see this flyer features next to no color, a blank white background, no graphics, and plain black text. The second and most important step in designing or redesigning any piece of documentation is to mindfully consider your audience. You will want to think about what is your motive behind designing this piece. Are you trying to alert your audience of something important? Are you trying to give them a sense of peace and calmness, happiness, excitement? All of these things are very important and are tied to different colors, and we will get into that more in a bit. You will also want to think about cultural considerations. For example, the same color can mean vastly different things in different countries to different cultures, so you will want to keep in mind who your target audience is. For example, red is often a symbol of good luck in Asian countries, but here in Western societies, it often symbolizes danger or a threat. Similarly, yellow here in Western societies is often a symbol of happiness and warmth, but in many European countries can symbolize jealousy, betrayal, and weakness, so you want to be careful of that. There's a lot more considerations like this that go into graphic design as a whole, but we're just tackling this one part, which is color. All right, let's get started. So for this tutorial, I'll be using Adobe Illustrator as my design platform, but you are welcome to use whichever one you are comfortable with. And over here on the left, we have that initial flyer. This was a flyer that I found online and went in and changed all the personal information as well as the company logo. So now we're just dealing with generic information. And over here was the flyer that we'll be redesigning. I went ahead and recreated all of the text that was on this one as well as the company logo, just to save us some time. And all right, so as far as colors, we are just going to go based off this bluish green color that I chose for the logo. And based on my experience, colors that go well with a bluish green are yellows and certain shades of oranges. So we're going to come over here. You can see that Adobe Illustrator works in layers, so we want to make sure we're on this background layer. And I am going to split this page in half. Not in half regularly, in half diagonally. And you'll see why in a second. Okay, now we can't make that that bluish green color because we won't be able to see our logo. So I'm going to make it this yellowish color. And it's a little too bright for me, so I'm going to tune it down a little bit. Make sure it doesn't have a border. Okay, and now we're going to do the exact same thing for the other half of the page. I'm doing it like this so that we can implement a little bit of what's called the 60-30-10 rule, which I will explain a little bit more later in the video. But basically, this is going to be the best way to get the best proportions of the colors that we're going to be using. And now this half of the page will match that bluish green color. Okay, now this black text is not doing it for me, so I'm going to change it white. Move it up a little bit. You can see I didn't change any of the text that it was on the original because that's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with colors, so all the text remains the same. I'm just going to scooch it over a little bit and turn it white. Alright, now I think that this flyer needs a little bit of a border to it. Nothing crazy, just a little bit of something to ground our text. And we're going to change that white. Make it a little thicker. And do the exact same thing in the other corner. And there you have it. Incredibly simple, but you can see what a drastic difference that made. Your viewers are going to be so much more likely to be drawn to something that looks like this as opposed to something that looks like what we started with. Something important to consider is knowing which colors actually go well together, and there's a bit of a science to it. Colors are broken up into these three categories. They include complementary colors, which are colors directly across from each other on a color wheel, analogous colors, which are directly next to each other, and sets of three colors called triadic colors, which are equal distance apart from each other on the color wheel. Another trick I've learned in design is this thing called the 60-30-10 rule, and what this is a template for choosing the most effective proportions of the colors that you're using. And what this says is that you should choose a dominant color that takes up 60% of your design, a secondary color that takes up about 30%, and finally an accent color.